In this tutorial, we will focus on more advanced search strategies when using the Quick Search tab on the library's homepage. However, the strategies we are covering will work when searching in most of our subject-specific databases like CINAHL, PsycInfo, Web of Science, as they will have advanced search features and use the same operators and similar logic to retrieve results. So you can start at the library's homepage and click on Advanced Search underneath in the kind of quick search box here, and that will take you to a fresh advanced search screen that you can start editing. However, if you have already done a search and you want to switch over to an advanced search, you can do that as well by clicking Advanced Search next to your search box up at the top, and that will already kind of populate the advanced search with the terms that you've been using. So you'll see that you can have multiple lines in searching, and these kind of lines are used to combine search terms with database operators to get better results. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the any field option open, but if you needed to or wanted to kind of search for a specific title or works by a specific author, or you had like a subject heading or something in mind, you could do that. But any field is going to search across multiple aspects of a record's metadata. So title, author, abstract, even subject terms like that. So we're just going to leave it at any field. But when I actually go in to start adding items in here, I'm going to treat each line as its own separate kind of concept. So in this case, we're going to talk about searching for results that are talked about vaping or electronic cigarettes or e-cigarettes. Notice that I'm keeping that kind of phrase searching going when I'm looking at electronic cigarette to keep those two words together as a phrase. I've capitalized "or" as the operator so that I'm going to be looking for articles that talk about if they mention vaping or another article that's talking about electronic cigarette, right? So if authors are using different terms, it should be capturing those different terms. Then I'm going to actually add in some additional terms on the second line, specifically about teenagers. So I could actually put in here teenager or teens or teenagers. A lot of the time our databases will actually kind of already do this on their own, and you won't necessarily have to add this in or like add in plurals. The other thing you could do is actually use what's called a wildcard, and these sometimes work in searches, sometimes they don't, so you may want to kind of test it out a little bit. And it's basically adding this little asterisk or ampersand or something at the end, or not an ampersand but like a plus sign sometimes, that will kind of tell the databases to look for terms that kind of have additional letters after that. So it'll come back teens, teenagers, but also things like teensy, which, though in this case there's probably not going to be a lot of articles talking about teensy vaping habits or anything like that. Just be careful when you're using it, and we'll kind of go back and forth between to show you what this actually looks like too. Okay. Other things you can do right off the bat on this advanced search screen is you could select a material type. So for example, if you know you want articles from journals and you don't necessarily want a full-length book, you could put that here. I will note that they are not as extensive as, some of the filters that you'll see. So if you don't necessarily want to see this, you don't have to. I'm going to limit to articles. If you limit to journals, that'll be searching just for journal titles. So like Nature, Cell Biology, Addiction, Journal of African History. So I wouldn't use journals, but I would use something like maybe books, articles, sound recording, videos, those kind of things. But in this case, I'm going to set it to articles. The other thing you can do is you can have that more specific date range. So if your professors are very exacting when they want things that have been published within exactly the last 5 years, not something that has been, just within it, like not the entire calendar year, but the exact actual 365 days of the year, something like that, you can actually put in a more specific date like this. On the filters on our results screen, you can only get to a calendar year with this. So a little bit different there. So I can actually put in that I want only from August 12th of 2019, for example. Once we've got stuff hit, and actually, sorry, you can also go by language if you're really struggling, or if you're really wanting to limit that way. Again, not as many initially that are kind of listed, but they are there. But I'm going to do a quick search, or click the search, excuse me. And I come up with, just over 1,300 results. Now, the result screen is the same that you've seen in other search videos here. You'll notice that the content type is not, since we put a limit on the content type, it's already limited down to articles. If I click on peer-reviewed journals and want to make sure that they are coming from peer-reviewed, I go down to just over 1,100. So again, didn't actually take out that much. That initial filter was there. I can remember these filters because I am actually going to go back in and make sure that I am looking at this as well. And it looks like it didn't quite take the publication date here, so I might have to go and look at that. The other thing is, maybe I don't necessarily just want to talk about teenagers. I also want to talk about things like adolescents. So for example, in this first article up here, it's talking about US adolescents, and that's, not a topic that I or not a word that I thought about when I was initially putting teen in there. But you'll see that it actually is pulling out down at the bottom the teenagers, and because we used that wildcard up there as well. And it should be kind of pulling out and matching to things in here. So I remember my filters so that I can keep that peer-reviewed journal. You'll notice that the search criteria up here is a little bit more robust, so you can go in here and edit it by clicking on the drop down, and it opens up the line that you just saw. So for example, if I'm going to put in teenager or adolescent, and I can also add in a new line so that if I am seeing a lot of articles that are related to, say, marketing or other things, but I'm really kind of want to focus on the issues of health, nicotine, I can actually add another search line, and I can change this and here. You could either do an or a not. In this case, I'm going to do a not and put in here with things like marketing or advertising, or even things like social media. Okay, and again, keeping that same kind of phrase searching going as well. And it should be fine. Let's put the actual date in today and see if that helps at all with the date range. Sometimes the date ranges are a little finicky, and I'm not entirely sure why. So we'll try to do this. I will say the date ranges on other subject-specific databases, things that are like CINAHL, PubMed, Web of Science, they're really much better at this than our quick search here. But I'm going to redo my search here. Again, we had 11,000. We've gone back and we've actually done a little bit better. And you'll kind of see that it should have taken out some of the things that we didn't necessarily need to see in here. So again, most of our subject-specific databases have this kind of advanced search feature, and trying to combine and play around with the search terms that you're using is going to be useful to kind of bring out what you actually want. Again, if you have any questions or need help with your research, please contact a librarian, and thank you for watching.